Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Dan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon by reviewing or talking about anything that's related to Disney in one way or another. The theme parks, their shows, anything, the merchandise, or whatever the case may be. In this case, it's gonna be of a TV series which I just got to watching the book of Boba Fett. So, which of course takes inspiration from the actual novels, comics, and whatever else, of course. Even though I kind of felt like they were glancing over a lot of stuff. If I have to give this any sorts of criticism, they definitely glanced over a lot of material. But the basic idea is that, of course, he's going to focus on Boba Fett, of course, him going through his adventures and whatnot. And And to give you a time frame, yes, of course, the show takes place after the original trilogy, of course, like sometime after this, which of course made a lot of reference to. And not only that, this also means that it also take place quite some time after the prequel trilogy, which yes, of course, they make a lot of reference to throughout the entire show. And which I'm not exactly happy with because I still think they're some of the worst films of all time. Which, by the way, of course, definitely implies the fact that this show does take place. So yeah, I think it's quite some time before the sequel trilogy. It came out much later, of course, and around the time Rogue One, Han Solo, kind of, I guess you can say. So what I'm saying that is kind of like a in between of an in between of in between of in between kind of thing going on. Sequel prequel kind of a thing going on. If you can get your head wrapped around that. Again, just trying to give you some sort of time frame in which this is supposed to be taking place in. Of course, just gonna not acknowledge the movies. Of course, I'm not. I'm just saying. Start out, I'll put that out for a good moment there, just so you can get what I'm getting at here, folks. So, but anyway, anywho, all right, as usual, we have to, of course, talk about the plot. So let's just get into it, shall we? So, of course, it's gonna star Boba Fett himself. That is a good portion of it, anyway. But basically, of course, they're gonna do their best as a way to tie in the events of the prequel trilogy and merge it with the original trilogy as well, to at least to some extent, I guess you can say. And of course, just one of the characters that did arrive, who was in the Mandalorian TV show for a little while, and is briefly in here as well for a short moment. Of course, I'm referring to the character of Ahsoka. Yes, she's in here. And I don't know why. She was easily one of my least favorite characters in the whole Star Wars expanded universe. At least one of them, anyway. And I know she has a fan base, but she doesn't do it for me at all, really. I know she's supposed to be tough and all that, but whatever, I guess. Anyway, but she's from of course, the animated series, of course, and where she had a major part, and of course, she was also in one animated movie as well, and yeah, for a good while. And they already had a previous series, of course, when it comes to Clone Wars and whatnot. But honestly, folks, yeah, these three things, as far as I'm concerned, they're pretty bad. They have their own issues as well. But okay, moving on from that, I guess you can say, but they're brought the character back. I guess you can say at least for a little bit. Boba Fett is in here, like I was saying, and of course he's trying to basically he goes to this place. I guess you can say he's like kind of like an underground kind of a thing. I guess the better word is that this area where he goes at is that it's mostly made up of criminals, all criminals, I should say. And he basically has to, I guess, live among them and just do his best just to survive day for day and whatnot. And it kind of tells the story backwards to some extent. Oh, met the Mandarin. Yeah, he does. Excuse me if I butcher his name, of course. Yeah, but he does come in for a bit, obviously. and him and Ahsoka do have a bit of an interaction. Gets to clarify a bit of the backstory and some of the little creature that he's been with for a good while, whom it gets trained by Yoda for a little bit as well. Yeah, him, the little green guy, gets trained a little bit, I guess you can say, by Yoda himself. And but yeah, that gets comes into play for a little bit for a good while. And I guess in some ways to pad these episodes up for a little bit because they would vary in length from time to time. But anyway, mostly it focuses on Boba for himself. And there's one lady here, and they seem to be like acquaintances, I guess you can call them. They're basically it's kind of like the Wild Wild West. I guess that's the best way to describe this entire show. It's basically the Wild Wild West just in outer space. I guess that's the best way to think of it. A lot of the tropes, yeah, a lot of the tropes that you may see in those old Western movies are brought here. I mean, not every single one of them, of course, but it's enough to see what they're getting at. Like when it comes to the some path in the dirt, one guy be one end and the other guy be one at the other end. They're just inches away of getting the gun. Okay, laser weapon really, but you know what they're getting at. It's like Jesse James or Billy the Kid, or whatever else, like a John Wayne kind of a thing going on here, folks. Pretty much, it's mostly that for the most part throughout the entire show. Yeah, Bob Fett and the one lady I just showed you a moment ago. It's basically the two of them. They have to sort out some things as he tries Boba Fett. I mean, as he tries to, I guess, bring in his own order, and to some extent, I guess you would say. And yes, there's plenty of references to the Return of the Jedi. Yeah, if you saw that movie, you know I'm getting at. There's like a lot of lots and lots of little nudges, wink, wink towards Return of the Jedi. Quite a bit actually. Um, and some it kind of brings me back to my next complaint. Really, it kind of feels like he's not trying to bring new ground. Really, it kind of feels too familiar, and because of that, it feels a little too familiar in regards to the original trilogy in some ways. I mean, do I hate the show? No, no, I don't hate it. It has moments. I think the best episode will probably be the last one. I know I don't mean that as an insult by any means, but there's like in the last episode, I'll be a bit vague because I don't want to spoil too much, really. But it involves this creature in this pit. If you remember in the yeah, in the Return of Jedi, where Luke Skywalker was in this pit thing, and he had to fight this creature, this big old creature thing with an ugly looking face and whatnot, ugly everything. That thing comes back and just goes on a rampage on the town and just wreaks havoc. So it kind of reminds me of a giant monster movie to some extent, I guess you can say. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. And it was hard to kill off, of course. It was hard to, I guess, take away or whatever. Yeah, you have to you have to figure out to minimize the damage is what I'm getting at. But of course, that's easier said than done. And then before that big old thing had arrived, they they had to fight out. There was like these two droid thingies. That was like big robot droid things that had shields or whatever, and they had to shoot at. But a lot of the weapons were like no use. But again, excuse me, a bit vague. I mean, really vague. I'm not trying to tell you what happened at the end or whatever. But at the point being, I think the last episode, it was about like what, an hour ish. That was probably the best one out of all of them, really. If you ask me, the last episode. I thought the others, I thought the previous episodes were like a mixed bag. If you ask me, the previous episodes, they're like wishy washy. But yeah, I'd just say the last episode definitely made up for it, and I meant that as a compliment, of course. I did like the wardrobe outfits that they chose for the show. A lot of that was actually pretty good, and of course, and the sets weren't too bad either. You can tell they definitely had a lot of money to burn in a lot of ways. It definitely shows. So I guess in retrospect, I can call this a space western, I guess, and it definitely shows. Obviously, it definitely shows. That's for sure. So, but yeah, I mean, okay. It did start off kind of rocky, as you can say. It just started a bit rocky, of course, a bit boring here and there, sure, but as a whole, it's a pretty solid show. It does have its moments throughout the entire thing, I guess you can say. I guess they were trying to make it very character driven in a lot of ways, and okay, I can see that. I can see what they were trying to do, of course. And yes, there's some violence in it, but I guess you can say it's tasteful violence, by which I mean it's not overly gory, it's not overly violent for its own sake. So the violence not isn't done for its own sake. It's I don't know if the tasteful violence is the best way to describe it really, but it's done in a in a manner that is not there just for shock value. I guess that's the way I can put it. It's not done just for shock value. I guess you can say, but the Star Wars movies always have been violent anyway, so it's not really a shock by any means. I guess you can say at all. But I mean, like I said, yeah, okay, they didn't really just judging from the show itself. It didn't really bring anything brand spanking new for Star Wars. If you're familiar with the lore and whatnot, it just comes out like the same old, same old. And in some respect, it does. But I didn't hate it. It does. Like I said, it has moments. I did not hate this really at all. Really, it does more. I guess more right than wrong. But though there is a lot of wrong, I guess you can say. But it's not bad. It's not terrible, I guess. I mean, granted, I've seen this kind of thing before. By which I mean, with other franchise, kind of like how, yeah, these two movies come off extremely similar in a lot of ways, and I guess the same with this as well. So yeah, no, the show book of Boba Fett kind of reminds me of that. Keep hinting at the original films in a lot of ways. I know I keep getting hung up on this. I know, but I just kind of wish that they would just move on from that. Yes, the original trilogy was great and all, but these these stories here should have their own identity as well. I'm just saying. Trying to make money of a glory from long, long ago. That's what I'm getting at. But anyway, as it stands, this series right here, this season, it's it's pretty solid, I guess. I like a lot of fight scenes, when they did occur, of course. And I'm trying to give the what do you call it, them the sand people? I'm trying to give them some sort of personality, I guess you can say, because they are here for quite a bit as well earlier on, and they do become a part of the story as well. But okay, but like I said, for what it's worth, it's not bad. Could be better, but it's not bad. And I'll give this season, this show, an overall rating of a 6.8 out of 10. It's a 6.8 out of 10 for me, for a TV show. So, of course, as always, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time, see ya. Oh, yeah. Later. Yes, sirree. Woohoo!